Good afternoon and welcome to the Joy Show. I'm Barbara Schreiner Trudell, and I'm so delighted that you've decided to join us today. Joy is an acronym for Just One You, and this show is about all things personal, positive, and productive that allow us to be our unique and remarkable selves. So I'm so grateful that you tuned in. I'd like to begin with a land acknowledgement. We work, live, and play on the historical and traditional territory of many Indigenous nations. And as we gather from many places on Turtle Island, we as settlers are grateful for the opportunity to meet here. And we thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. This includes the Métis, Inuit, and all Indigenous people. And though I'm not a person of African descent, I'm committed to continually acting in support of and in solidarity with Black communities seeking freedom and reparative justice in light of the history and ongoing legacy of slavery that continues to impact Black communities in Canada and the United States. And as part of this commitment, I would also like to acknowledge that not all people came to these lands as migrants and settlers. Specifically, I wish to acknowledge those who came here involuntarily, particularly those who were brought to these lands as a result of the transatlantic slave trade and slavery. So, in support of our ongoing efforts to confront anti Black racism, we pay tribute to these ancestors of African origin and descent. We also acknowledge the contributions made both in shaping and strengthening our community. And by making this acknowledgement, we strive to be allies and take an active part in reconciliation. We recognize our oneness, we realize our history, and we choose to create a new reality. We are one. Well, I am so excited. Today, my guest is Lilian Nanyanzi, and she is from Uganda. And she is here striving to become a Canadian. And if she goes back to Uganda, she will likely be killed. That's what happens when you do things that the government doesn't agree with or doesn't approve of, which is the case for Lilian. Separated from three of her children, she has one here, and she is seeking status, even though the government so far is in the process of trying to deport her. And she is appealing that action right now. There's a petition going out, which my lovely producer Deja will put up on the screen for you. Lilian, welcome, my dear. Welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you're here.
Hi, Barbara.
So glad you could join me today. Now, tell me a little bit about your life in Uganda.
Um, in Uganda, I was a mother. I'm still a mother
Mhm.
of 4 children in total.
Yes.
I left 3 of them back home, and one is born from here. He's a
Yes.
Canadian. And while I was in Uganda, I was a businesswoman
Mhm.
who owned a unisex beauty salon, whereby I employed the unprivileged um, to also help them earn a living.
Yes.
And among them were the LGBTQ persons.
Right.
Yeah. So being while I was in Uganda, being an LGBT, I was an LGBTQ supporter, activist. I can say the word activist
Mhm.
because I saw the LGBT persons, someone coming out and say I'm this and identify yourself as LGBTQ.
Mhm.
I to myself, I don't see it as the way other people see it.
Right.
So me associating with them, giving them employment, um, because at times they could also come to my home.
Of
Yeah, I
course.
provided care to them, like
Mhm,
because some of them were my workers, so I
mhm,
was their source of income. So
mhm.
I with that I was taking care of them, providing them with their needs. Because being their employer, I had to know their needs,
Of course.
which I provided in my salon, and they would benefit them. So
And how did the government look on that? You
yeah,
supporting LGBTQ people?
of course the Ugandan government, they don't want to hear about LGBTQ. Their supporters, even someone who is around them, is seen to be someone promoting LGBTQ. And right now, at the moment, today, as I'm speaking, what is happening in Uganda with the LGBTQ,
Mhm,
the law, should I say the law, it was
mhm,
signed by the president of Uganda that the law is against the LGBTQ persons,
mhm,
their supporters, anyone who is involved in such is killed,
wow.
imprisoned. That is a life year imprisonment.
Wow, that is in this day and age, it's hard to uh, really acknowledge that there's governments that still believe that somehow who you love is a problem.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm
Wow.
just
So,
feeling pity for
mhm,
the LGBTQ persons who are in Uganda. I know most of them right now, they must be into hiding. Because I think being an LGBTQ person is something that you can't hide. Because it is
who you
born
are.
in you, it is you, it is the real you. So
Yeah.
I just can't imagine what they are going through.
Now, you had your business kind of destroyed as a result of the people that you were working with. Uh, you said something about the government came in and either closed you down or something. What happened with your business?
Yeah, first of all, it's in the beginning, it started with the community
Mhm.
in the area where my salon was.
Yeah.
So on several occasions, I would I would find posters put underneath my door, like warning posters, telling
Mhm,
me that if I don't stop employing them, associating with them, my life
mhm.
is in danger. So that
Wow.
was putting them underneath my shop. Imagine opening the shop and that is what welcomes you. So it went on, like even on when I was going back home to my
Mhm,
home, you would find people on the way, like they could be waiting for you somewhere, like maybe trying to scare you, like
mhm.
they talk about you. You could hear them talk about you, like maybe they have plans ahead that if you don't stop what you're doing, employing them and associating with them.
Wow.
So it from the community, it went to the authorities, that is the police. So
Mhm,
how did it get to the police? That one day I was at work, but before some of my workers, the community people would go to the police authorities
mhm.
and want them to come and talk to me and tell me to stop, like they could involve the authorities. So on two occasions they would come and they didn't find me there, but my workers would tell me that they were here. So the third time they came, the second time they came, they took one of my workers. So my worker, from the time they took him, I didn't know the whereabouts of my one of my workers.
Wow.
So the third time they came, they found me.
Mhm.
So when they found me, on that day I was kidnapped. and I was taken somewhere where I was tortured. So it was like somewhere hidden. On my way, I couldn't tell where I was going, but on unfolding my eyes, because I was blindfolded, but on unfolding my eyes, I realized that I was in the middle of a forest and they were planning to set fire on me, to burn me alive.
Wow.
Yeah. So what saved me from being burnt alive? I can't imagine thinking of this, but as time went on, the more I talk about this, I find myself having the courage that,
Yeah,
yeah, that thank God, I just be thankful to God that I'm still alive.
absolutely.
Yeah. Maybe it gives me a belief that God wants me alive, and there is a reason why I came to Canada.
I agree.
If I didn't
I
come to Canada, maybe I would be dead by now. But the fact that I'm alive, God has a plan for me.
I think you're right. I think you're right. And
So
I think part of what you're doing right now in talking about what's going on is raising awareness, and that is really important.
yeah,
And yeah,
so
here's a petition people can sign. So please go on and sign this. Lilian really does need to stay in the country, needs to have her children come and be with her. And I invite you to sign that petition because it's important that we keep her safe. Keep her safe. All right, continue, my dear.
yeah, so that's to add on that day. So before I was going to be burnt alive,
Hmm.
I was rescued by some people who came. I think they were the police. It was the police. Maybe on seeing some people in the community, because I was taken to another place, another location, not the place where my salon was.
Hmm.
So the people there, as they saw, maybe someone saw someone being dragged to the forest, and someone maybe called the police that there is something going to happen here. So out of the sudden, I just had shootings of bullets in the air, like in the what? So the crowd disappeared on hearing the shootings.
Wow.
Everyone scattered. So that's how I was left there by myself, and the police came to me. So they
Wow.
got me because they didn't know, the police themselves didn't know what was happening. So they asked me, what have you done to be in this situation? So because I knew it was the police, and once I could mention that this, I could tell them exactly what is about this cause,
Yeah.
definitely I would be taken to court, or because that they also know, the police, that someone who is got involved in such should be taken to court, make a statement. That was the first personal statement I would have made on my life for myself. And that would lead me to court, to jail. Never know where I could be.
Wow.
So
Wow.
after going through that, I was lucky that I managed to escape from the police where I was taken by someone who knew me,
Hmm.
who was a close family member who was working in the police.
Yeah.
So that was my savior,
Wow.
because he knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
So that was my savior. That is when I started my journey to come to Canada.
Hmm. And
Yeah.
how did that happen?
Yeah, that happened that before before all this happening to me,
Hmm.
I had it in plan to get out of Uganda.
Yeah.
So I had put in an application, a visa application to come to Canada.
Okay.
Yeah, so while I was in the hiding, I was lucky that a few months my visa came out.
Oh,
Yeah,
fantastic.
so that's how I left Uganda.
And when you put in your refugee status,
Yeah.
what were the things that you talked to them about that, for whatever reason, they're not accepting at this moment? What was your claim?
Yeah, basically in court when I was on my hearing, I
Hmm.
think I had insufficient evidence because the time I left Uganda
Hmm.
wasn't enough, apart from having the saloon in existence, which was
Right.
destroyed. So
Wow.
everything that I could provide, like evidence, maybe only the pictures sometimes I took with my phone,
Yeah.
the phones with my workers. So I couldn't, the challenge I got is that after me coming to Canada, I didn't get in touch with them having come to Canada.
Right.
Yeah. And also the pictures, I didn't have the pictures with me on my
Mhm.
phone because I was leaving Uganda, I sold my phone, my old phone. And
Yeah.
it was after some time I realized that I could do a Google something that could back up to bring back my pictures, which I didn't have. But before I sold my phone, I deleted everything. Because I didn't know that even I could come to Canada and I had to show this evidence.
Well, of course not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wasn't prepared and I couldn't, there was no way I could provide that evidence. So they believed that what I'm saying, I'm lying, that, but I myself, I know I
Yeah.
can't lie on something I was doing.
Wow. Yeah. No
I see
kidding.
people now, like the evidence I provided was the person who rented me the shop where I put the salon. So that
Yeah.
person wrote to me an affidavit. I think that was the person who could, that was the person who could, defend that I had the salon and I was employing such people, of which that person wrote the affidavit. So I really don't know what the judge wanted me to provide.
Exactly. I think that's the confusion sometimes is,
Mhm,
number one, you're navigating a new system.
mhm,
You're in a new country where everything is different, all the traditions, everything are different. And
mhm.
so you're navigating all of that. And then the trauma of leaving your children behind, of being treated in the way that you were,
Yeah,
sort of makes it very difficult to be fully prepared
yeah,
for an interrogation by the immigration services.
yeah.
Wow. Wow. Now you moved here in 2019 is when you came?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So you're coming up to 4 years. So now you have put in another application with another organization that might be able to shift this for you. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Which organization? The application?
There's you sent another thing through to us about sort of an
Oh,
appeal or something
um,
like that.
that is the organization. It's called Migrant Alliance Workers
Right.
Association.
Yes. Yeah.
Basically, that one, it is an organization. Yeah, it is an organization. It is that fights for migrant rights.
Okay.
Yeah,
Status for all. I love that.
that is community support.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now that organization is all across Canada, so
yeah,
it has some strength and stability. So
yeah,
anybody who's watching who's in the Toronto area, there'll be a march on the 19th of March at 2 p.m. at Christie Pitts.
yeah,
So people can come and join in and participate in a way to sort of show our solidarity for creating something, a change in this for you and for others as well, which I think is really important as well.
yeah.
That's exciting. So tell me about some of the things you're doing to stay connected with your children. That's got to be tough.
Yeah, it's so tough, but first of all, the things I do that keep me connected to my children,
Hmm.
communication, I communicate with them. I communicate with the people who stay with them because my kids are still young. They don't have personal phones.
Right.
Yeah. So through my friends, I communicate with my children. First of all, I'm hardworking. I work hard to see
Hmm.
that I provide for them.
Yeah.
I pay their bills, their house, their rent, I pay for their rent. I take care of their medication. I pay their school fees and every basic need they need, I know they need. I try to make them feel that despite the distance,
You're
I'm
still
still in their life.
good.
So they
Good.
really count on me for anything they need. They have always counted on me, though so it really, really makes me sad
Yeah.
that I don't know when I will meet them again.
That's the thing I don't understand with the immigration services is how they don't automatically bring the children over so that there is no family separation. Like,
Yeah,
it's so important for children to have their parents. Like, I'm just that one really surprises me.
yeah,
Even people who've been granted, working visas or they've just gotten their landed immigrant status, um, it's still a task to bring your children over, and they should never be separated from their mothers.
because
That
they really miss the parental appearance.
Of
They
course.
miss the parental guidance, the moral support, spiritual support. Yeah, despite that, I pray for them.
Oh, of
But the
course.
physical appearance matters a lot.
Well, I think that's part of something that, when we look at immigration in Canada, I think there needs to be some immigration reform around how we deal with children.
Yeah,
Because that's the future of humanity is our children, and if we treat them like somehow they're insignificant, not important, the message we send is such a broken one that's going to cause probably some challenges for them as they reach adulthood. And what we want to do is build up families and build up people so that we create something more harmonious and beautiful overall. So I don't understand that part, not in the least.
yeah.
Wow. Now, if you were to return to Uganda, if you did get deported, what do you think would happen as a result of that deportation?
That is the worst thing I
Mhm.
wish to happen to me.
Mhm.
Thinking, seeing myself being deported to Uganda,
Mhm.
I rather end my life here than
Oh,
taking myself to Uganda, than deporting me back to Uganda.
oh, sweetie. Wow.
So that is the last thing I can't imagine happening to me or anyone who
Mhm.
the Ugandan government is. Because I know what is happening right now
Yeah.
politically, um, for homosexuality,
Mhm.
like the LGBTQ.
Yeah.
That would be the worst thing. I just pray
Wow.
I don't get deported. But if that is what the Liberal government decides for me to be deported, I rather end my life here than being deported to Uganda. I'm sorry to say this.
Wow. That's a strong statement. That is a really strong statement, and I hope somebody's listening who actually can stand up and do something for you in that regard. Because I think, when I think about that that speaks volumes to what you'd be going back to. And like you said earlier, you were tortured and they were going to set you on fire, burn you alive. Like that that's a horrific thought. That, yeah, I can understand why you would feel like you would want to just take your life here rather than go back. I'm sorry to hear that, though. That's, wow. On that note, we are going to take a short commercial break and then we'll be right back. You're watching The Joy Show, which celebrates individual courage and tenacity. So don't go away. We'll be back in just a moment.
Change, change, you can do it. Change, change, it's a sure thing. Change, change, expect a miracle change. Watch me change when you change the way you look at things. The things you look at change when you change the way you look at things. The things you look at change when you change the way you look at things. The things you look at change when you change the way you look at things. The things you look at change. Now do 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 change. Do 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 change. Do 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 change. Do 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 do.
New Thought Media Network is on the rise. We're looking to grow with you. Do you have technical media experience or perhaps a desire to learn? Are you willing to volunteer your precious time and attention? We share this message to benefit all. If you possess a computer with a camera and a microphone, we will share our knowledge with you. Behind the scenes or being the star, let us bless our one. Contact us at info@ntmedia.org.
And we're back. Today we're talking to Lilian Nanyanzi, who is a refugee from Uganda who has had her life threatened and who just a few minutes ago talked about if she was deported, she would rather end her life here than go back to Uganda. Wow, that's a really powerful statement. And that's one I really hope does not occur. I would love for you to stay in Canada and be part of the Canadian family and be able to live your life on your terms. Now, you are a social activist. You are doing work that really matters for migrant rights, not just your own, but others, and also for the LGBTQ community to make sure that all people are honored and respected as they are, where they are. So tell us a little bit about what got you involved in this activism that you are working toward or working with.
What got me involved is in Uganda, knowing that LGBTQ persons are seen to be people who, everyone who gets to see someone who identifies himself or herself as an LGBTQ,
Mm-hmm.
they are seen as I don't want to say the word, but they see them as people just imagine a lot of things about them. No one talks good about them.
Well,
But there are also people like us, they're like someone else. So LGBTQ persons in Uganda, they can't be employed anywhere. No one wants to associate them with them. So me opening a salon,
mhm.
I saw it as a way of opening a door for them.
Yes.
Life in Uganda, you have to earn and eat and be able to support yourself, your
Yeah.
family. Yeah. So having the love to defend others people's rights
Mhm.
is what took me into the activism. I was
Awesome.
ready to support them because some of them even were sleeping at my home. So I
Yeah.
was ready to give them housing, shelter. I didn't have a big home, but at least I had somewhere to keep them.
Yeah.
For those who, some of them, even their parents abandoned them, they neglected them. One of them opened that to me as we were at the work. So I took on to that person, and that person was staying at my place.
I think that's, when we think about those of us who are spiritual, who believe in God, that one of the things that we do is look after one another.
Yeah,
That's kind of part of the, golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And I think when we look at some of the laws of various countries, even here in Canada, there's so many shortcomings
yeah,
where humanity is not treated in a way that's truly compassionate.
yes,
And it's nice to see that you have compassion
yeah,
for others, even given the challenges you faced personally,
yeah,
that you've still found it in your heart to be an advocate for those who don't have as much. So that's a powerful thing. That's very exciting, actually, that you do that. So as you move forward on these next legs of things, the migrant association that might help you to be able to stay here, what do we need to do there? How can we be allies? How can we support to ensure that that these changes get made or that people get to stay?
yeah. The way you can help is reaching out to the Canadian government,
Right?
because most of the undocumented people, it's not that anyone who fails a refugee claim should be deported.
Right.
Yeah, the government should look at someone's capacity.
Hmm.
Some of us who are undocumented,
Yeah.
like me, I'm hardworking. I have no criminal record.
Yeah.
I try to protect my name against that.
Hmm.
I engage myself to the community. I pay my taxes. I'm also a mother. I'm a mother who
Yeah.
takes care of my own child and other children because I work at a family shelter for
Okay.
women
Hmm.
who are fleeing domestic violence. So as a mother, I'm able to take care of, as a mother and a woman,
Hmm.
I have the heart and the passion to take care of the vulnerable people, like the children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
I
I
think,
just, the support you can give is maybe if there is a way you can maybe talk to the government to look into these things before they deport someone. Even
yeah.
someone has put in the humanitarian application, but
Hmm.
still the person wants to be deported.
Yeah.
And yet the humanitarian looks on such things, but the CBSA still wants to go ahead and deport such a person.
I don't understand that because I thought that there was some kind of a ruling, in Canada that we don't deport people who, may be killed if they go back to their home countries. I thought there
Yeah,
was.
but they don't want to look into this. This is being racism. This is racism
Yes,
at
it
the
is.
highest, yeah. And when I look at what is going around the petitions of people who are being deported, we are blacks. So if they welcomed us to Canada, why do they want to deport us blacks? I've never seen a petition for a white or what going around.
You know what? You're absolutely correct about that. I
So we
have
the
not.
black people, we are trying, we are working hard. We are
Yeah.
paying the taxes.
Wow, 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 wow. So then it does come down to the ideas of racism and exclusionary tactics to I don't know what they're doing, securing the white supremacy or something. I think that's a very interesting statement, and I think you're probably very right about that.
Yeah,
That somehow it really does come back to the color of your skin.
yeah.
That's That makes me really
Even when
sad.
I go for my interviews there at the CBSA, you
Yeah.
only see black people. Why?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense at all.
So the Ukrainians, for them, they have all the privileges.
Well, unless they're a Black Ukrainian, and then they don't. Because I remember watching news where, you know, Black Ukrainians were trying to move into bordering countries, and they were not letting them in, but they
Why?
were accepting
That's
white
unfair.
Ukrainians.
That's unfair.
It is unfair. It is unfair. I think that's one of the things that I think really needs to change, probably more than anything, is to shift how we view one another and begin to look at the character of a person's heart and soul rather than the color of their skin
Yeah.
or the language they speak or whatever. I think that is the work that needs to be done. And maybe that's the way we write letters to our governing officials.
Yeah.
Talk about the fact that when we go to the immigration services, here's what we're seeing. And that really is wrong. It really doesn't make sense at all that that happens. I'm so sorry that that is the case.
Yeah,
Um,
because our country, Uganda, I am
mhm,
very much aware that even the immigration people,
yeah,
they see what is going on in Uganda.
yeah,
It is also the same way they look at other countries like Somalia, that
yes,
people who come from Somalia, they never go to have court hearings. It is also the same thing that is happening in our country.
yeah,
Because some years coming, we might even have, I'm not predicting, I'm not saying it will happen. I just
yeah,
pray it doesn't happen. But politically, we might be facing something that no one wishes to see. But
yeah,
Uganda is also a country of instabilities that anyone who gets a chance to come out of Uganda is coming out of hell. We come to a country like Canada. I have to talk good about Canada, and I will always talk about good about it, because in Canada
mhm,
I have freedom
yes,
speech. I've been protected.
yes,
I feel Canada is the best country for someone who is going through a situation like I'm going on. It is the best country for someone to call home.
yes, I agree.
But since I came to Canada, I've had a peace of mind.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that,
Yeah.
Lillian. That's
So it
wonderful.
really hurts me to see that I want to be deported to a country which I left unwillingly, leaving my children, my young children. I left them when they were very young, but because for the fear for my life,
Yeah.
I can't imagine how I cried on the aeroplane, leaving
Oh,
my children back home. But all in
mhm.
my heart, I'm like, when I'm alive out of Uganda, I know my children will be well. One time, one day, we shall meet again.
Well, that's absolutely right, and I'm hopeful that there's an improvement in the Canadian immigration where mothers and children are reunited quickly rather than held at bay. Because I think, keeping children and mothers apart is really a mistake. And here we are in the month, Women's Month. International Women's Day is next week, and I think that idea of really holding women in a state of true potential and possibility, because we are the caregivers, we are the heart of humanity. I think in some regards that as women we tend to be, not always, but we tend to be more compassionate. And I think the world needs a whole lot of compassion right now, and not for one people, but for all people. I
Yeah,
want to see a change occur. I want to see you stay here safe and sound. I really want that for you. And at the end of this show, we're going to pray together because I really want you to be safe.
thank you, Barbara. I appreciate that. Prayer
Yeah.
works. Yeah,
It just, it breaks my heart to see people treated in the
yeah,
manner that you are. Like that's, yeah, it's not right. We are a big, vast country. We have space for everybody. And I would like to see us utilizing the remarkable gifts of the people who are coming in. You were a business owner there. Given the opportunity, you would likely become a business owner here.
yeah,
And you would add rather than subtract
yeah,
from the well-being of this country. And I think that's something that we need to take into consideration. So tell me about your hopes and dreams. If you get your immigration status here in Canada and your children come, what is your dream for your future?
My dream, my biggest dream, is to reunite with my family, my kids,
Yeah.
and once I achieve that dream,
Hmm.
I hope to be a loyal, hardworking citizen of
Hmm.
Canada, paying my taxes and supporting the community, continue supporting the community
Hmm.
and economic growth of Canada through paying my taxes, doing whatever I'm supposed to do.
Yeah. Well, that's what we need here are people who are really wanting to create a better life,
Yeah,
to create a sense of peace and harmony for yourself, your family, and for those around you. And I know you're volunteering right now at the PWA Foundation, and I think there was somewhere else you're volunteering too, where you're doing childcare.
yeah. I do volunteer at the Ugandan Muslim Association. That is
Okay,
a food bank.
nice.
Yeah, I also do volunteer at the Dominion Church,
Okay, yeah.
yeah, and the MCC Toronto.
Oh, I'll be at MCC Toronto this Sunday.
Wow, I'll meet you there.
Will you be there on Sunday?
Yeah, I will.
Yeah. My daughter's singing there on Sunday.
Yeah, I was
She's
there the other Sunday, not the last Sunday, but I was there the other Sunday.
Yeah.
So hopefully
Oh,
this
good.
Sunday I'll be
Well,
there. Mhm.
I look forward to seeing you in person because it'd be
Yeah,
nice to give you a big hug.
sure, sure, I'll be there.
Good, good. Yeah, MCC has done a lot of work with, a lot of people in the LGBTQ community, as well as immigrants and anyone who is needing support. It's a great church, and they're doing good work in the
Yeah,
world. And I think that's some of the most valuable things that we can do is find ways to support one another and to begin to view each other from our character rather than our skin color or
Yeah.
our sexual orientation or what country we came from or whatever other ways we use to separate.
Yeah.
I really believe that we are actually one, that we are connected. All of us are connected. And I think the idea of that connection is so important to healing.
Yeah.
Uh, so that really, really matters. And how is your son doing that is here in Canada? Is he doing well?
Yeah, he's doing so well.
Mhm.
Yeah, he loves his daycare so much.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wonderful if they're in a place that they can really enjoy and so he's about almost 3 years old
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. He'll be 3 in May.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. And what's his name?
He's called Hashim.
Hashim.
Yeah, Hashim.
Hashim. I like that. I like that. And what does it mean?
Hashim?
Mhm.
Hashim is a. Oh my God, I don't know the meaning of the name. I don't want to lie. I've never searched about the meaning of the name Hashim.
I'll have to research it and find out.
Mm, sure, I should.
Yeah, I don't know the meaning of all of my children's names either, so,
Yeah.
but it was just something that came to mind because I know sometimes, like, whenever I chose names for my children, I always looked at the meaning of the name that I was choosing so that the name, kind of fit somehow. Mine means mysterious.
Mm,
And, do you know what your name means or
no.
no? Oh, maybe Deja can look that up in the online here, and we'll find it before we leave. I don't know. I might be asking the impossible, but, it's interesting when we look at names. One of my sons is Curtis, and his name means courteous. And he's always been really good with people, and I think that's part of his nature. And when we choose names, I think somehow we know who they are when they're born. It's like somehow they communicate with us as to who they are, and the right name shows up for them. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's fascinating.
My son,
So,
something about my son Hashim.
mhm.
Another thing that would really hurt me. Hashim loves the yellow bus so much. I think when you see the petition, he was holding the yellow bus. So I can't imagine me being deported to Uganda and let Hashim miss sitting in the yellow bus.
Aw, the school bus.
He
That's
likes it so
awesome.
much. Each time I'm dropping him to school, picking him from school, he would see the yellow bus. He would scream, "Mommy, bus, school bus!" So he would even
School
want to
bus.
jump out of the stroller and go to the bus. So I just pledged to the government of Canada to please grant me and my son
Oh, yes.
permanent residence. I
Wow.
want to see my son and my children back home reunite here. I want to see them sit in the bus going to school in the yellow bus.
Yes. Oh my goodness, that's so lovely.
Yeah.
Well, David did look up your name, and it means, purity,
Mhm.
and it also symbolizes lilies, the flower lily, and it is peace, passion, and the joy of rebirth. And
Mhm.
it's like you are having a rebirth here. Now, how do you spell, Hashem? Is it Hash?
EEM.
EEM, okay. We'll see if she can find that as well. I'd be just curious to know. Um, I like finding little, I don't know, kind of fun facts because, when we're talking about such serious things, I
Mhm.
think sometimes it can, for me, it makes me quite sad. And I want to find ways to not dismiss the sadness, but to marry it with the joy, the other side, the fulfillment of the dream, the possibility of a new reality, that together we can work to create that rebirth which is part of your name, the
Yeah.
joy of rebirth. I think you being allowed to stay here
Yeah.
is that. Oh, Hashim means crusher of evil.
Yeah.
I love that.
Hashu
The essence of love. That's beautiful.
crusher of evil. Wow.
Well, you named him well.
Yeah. No,
Oh, that's remarkable.
yeah.
I love that. I love that. Because I think what's going on in the way that the LGBTQ community is being treated and such, I really think that um, that is a destructive and horrible act. And
Yeah.
it's something that needs to change. We need to evolve our world into an understanding of the importance of each other, that each one of us, we're all a little bit different and we're all exactly the same. You
Yeah.
know, we require food, we require air, we require water, we require shelter.
Yeah.
That we're all the same. We all desire love. We all want to be loved and to love. And that in those ways, we are the same.
Yeah.
And then our differences is what makes us unique and remarkable and creates this beauty in our world. We can't have beauty without difference. You know, we wouldn't want to have only lilies in the world. We want lilies and roses and I don't know other flowers, tulips and we want all kinds of different ones because it creates a tapestry of possibility and interest and excitement.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important. So yeah, when we look at the world around us, it's important that we stand up.
Yeah.
Stand up for each other.
Yeah.
Now, are you Muslim or are you Christian or do you define yourself by any religion?
I'm a Christian.
Christian? Awesome, awesome. And you were even before coming here, like in Uganda, that's what your spiritual practice was Christianity.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I think, you know, when I think about Christianity, I think about the path of Jesus. And I think for me, Jesus was not God. Jesus was the human who embodied the attributes of God. And said that all of us will do the things that he does and more things, greater things. And what I love about the ideas of Jesus is that he loved everybody. He treated everybody as equal.
Yeah.
And that to me is the message that sometimes gets missed
Okay.
when we talk about being a good Christian, but then we go, those people, in that moment, we have eliminated our Christianity. In that moment, we've eliminated it completely because Jesus was about inclusion and he was a Jew. He was Jewish, not Christian. So I think I think there's something about the teachings that for me are so powerful when we come to understand what he was asking us to do.
Yeah.
Love one another as
Yes.
you love yourself.
Yes.
Wow. So, how can we love you? What can we do for you at this time to assist in the success of your path?
Anything you can do, any support, I welcome all the support. If it means going with you to Vancouver to talk to the immigration officer, I will appreciate that.
Yeah, beautiful,
See,
beautiful.
I welcome, I don't want to limit myself because I know you can do all you can.
You know, that's a great sentiment because the truth is the only limitations ever placed on us are the ones that we think in our own minds.
Yeah.
The fear, the worry, the doubt that possesses our mind, that's what limits us. But when we open up to the fact that we are a part of an abundant universe, that this energy of God is infinite and eternal, that energy is all powerful.
Yeah.
When we acknowledge that and really embody and embrace that, we begin to create from that place of power and possibility. We can create change. We can do things differently by really, truly accepting that there is a power for good in the universe and we can use it.
Yeah.
So we're going to use that for you now to find a way to assist however we can, whether it's attending the march on March 19th, March.
Yeah.
Or, please sign the petition, everyone. If you sign that petition, that would be very helpful. Circulate it with your friends and family so they can sign it as well. Let's get those numbers up. Is there a specific number that would be helpful for the petition that you're trying to reach?
There is no specific number,
Mm-hmm.
so it just has to keep on being signed. Because right now, when I see, it's
Mm-hmm.
15,000.
Excellent. Okay. So we want to increase that.
Yeah,
We want to increase that. And there's your little guy with his little red hat. So cute.
and his yellow bus.
And his yellow bus.
He sleeps with it in bed.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
well, he's beautiful. He's beautiful with his little yellow bus. I love that. Well, we're coming to the end of our show, and I'm really grateful that you joined me, Lilian. I'm grateful to get to know you a little bit, and I really look forward to meeting you on Sunday.
Yeah.
That will be a real blessing for me as
Me
well.
too.
And any final thoughts? We've got about a minute and a half left. Any final thoughts you want to share with people?
Yeah. I just want to thank everyone who has been able to attend our show. I'm so grateful for Barbara. Thank you for reaching out to me. Who am I for you to host me on your show? I
You
count
are Lilian.
I count a blessing.
Yeah, no, you are a blessing. You are a blessing. And the message I want to share with everybody is there's just one you, and you are essential to the unfolding of the universe right now. You're created unique and special, just like everybody else. And
Yeah.
as such, every one of us is part of the unfolding of all of us. And so our success depends on one another, being
Yeah.
compassionate and kind and cooperative. To create community and harmony through love, peace, and passion, and to have the Hashims of the world crushing the evil so that
Yeah.
the joy, the love, and the delight become the very essence of all that we think, say, and do. So I am grateful to each person who watched the show today. Lilian, I am so grateful to you and your willingness to come on and talk about your journey and where you're headed. And for anyone who is struggling right now with your own identity or your own comfort in the world that you live in today, just know that there are people out here who love you, who appreciate you, and who will do whatever they can to support you.
I
Thank
appreciate
you, everyone, for watching. Please like and subscribe and share. And Lilian, have a most beautiful day, and I'll see you on Sunday.
Thank you, Barbara.
You're
Thank
welcome.
Bye.
Bye.
On behalf of everyone at New Thought Media Network, thank you for being a member of our virtual family. Your financial contributions help share the New Thought message with people from around the world. Please visit and contribute at www.ntmedia.org/donate. New Thought